everybody, welcome to Camel City Chat. I'm John McPherson. I'm here with my guest, Rick Babusiak. That's right, Rick Babusiak, State Farm Insurance, etc. All the fun, exciting things. I'm sure there's I'm not allowed to talk about one aspect, which is part of your career, so it has to go before all that. So we won't talk about that, but we will talk about State Farm Insurance, right?
Sounds good.
We can do that.
So.
Located conveniently on Martin View Lane. If you want to give Rick a call, that's right. You can visit him online at rbsfi.com or 760-9994. That's 760-9994.
Pretty good memory. I like it.
You like that, didn't you?
I do.
Yeah. So Rick is actually one of the original 4 or 5 people that sponsored Real Estate Radio.
That's right.
And so we've known each other for, well, where are you from and how long you've been here? And that's how long we've known each other.
That's right. 12 years now. It's been a while.
12 years.
12 years.
Met you on Jonestown Road.
You did.
Right. Okay. Little temporary office set up there. Came in, met you and your wife Candace, who is a past guest of Camel City Chat during the pandemic. And so you've been here 12 years. Feels like you lived here all your life?
It sure does. Time flies.
Yeah. It is crazy because I know you got really involved in a lot of stuff, and I want to talk about that because I think you are truly a fine example that people should look to and understand and try to emulate in getting involved where you live to become someone that people think's been there all their life. Because I think there's probably a lot of people that think you've been here for a long time.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so you're not going to be this calm with me and try to be all. I mean, you're going to actually have to be normal Rick too. You're being like all. So I'll get to the next question then, if you want to be like this, and then we'll come back to some of the other stuff. And that's what's your favorite place to eat?
Oh my gosh, what a question! I mean, we have so many amazing restaurants here. Quick side note: I've been on a new eating lifestyle. I can't call it a diet. I'm not allowed to call it a diet.
So I'm going up again, and I've got to start going back down again, and you are just like dropping like crazy.
So I'm down about 50 pounds since September when I started this. Now, I don't eat out much anymore.
Right.
But when I do eat out, oh my gosh, I mean, we have 600 Degrees is fantastic.
Right.
Mission Pizza is fantastic. Delicio's, I don't know. I mean, there's just so many amazing local restaurants we have here that, to name one, I couldn't tell you.
It's interesting to me because you and I are a lot alike on some of the food things, in that we want as much flavor as we can in a bite.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The flavor's got to kick you in the face.
Right. And I know you love kimono.
Absolutely.
And that's, you and I went to lunch there, I think it was like a week or so ago. And, sushi's wonderful. It's hard with the rice, but then, but you're absolutely right. Great restaurants. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, all right. So you've got 2 kids, married. What's your favorite thing to do around Winston-Salem?
Wow. I mean, again, so many amazing things to do. I tell you, we have Ethan's birthday coming up next weekend. Family's coming in town, so we are going to the bowling alley at Roar. We've got a couple lanes reserved for that.
Okay.
So that's a fun thing to do. Got a cool, unique thing we have. Going out, and then we're heavily involved in our church. We love being a part of that, being a part of our small groups there.
Right. And so so when the family comes to town, we have, what is it? It's Phoenix area, Arizona?
So we got Candace's mom coming in from Phoenix.
We got
my
Florida.
Mom and my stepdad coming in from Florida.
Ohio and Michigan are in the mix.
We got my dad coming in from Indiana.
Right, Indiana, that's right. Okay.
So we've got a...
and your brother from Michigan lives...
So my cousin just moved here from Michigan.
Michigan, okay, that was the one.
Back over the summer, and now he lives in Kernersville. So we've got one more Babusiak that's been brought down here to North Carolina.
Folks, it's nuts when they all come to town. So, and it's a great time. And you and your wife are just amazing hosts. We've been fortunate to come to some of your different soirees, and you guys do it right. All right, so the thing that I want to talk about with you is, let's go back. Okay, so you are... where'd you grow up?
So I grew up down in Bradenton, Florida. Lived down there in Florida most of my life. All through school. I was probably the only Floridian who said, you know what, it's time to go to college. I'm going to go to Indiana.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. So you go to IU and
Ball State.
Ball State. Sorry about that. I don't know why I said IU because I know it's Ball State. It's Ball State Cardinals, and of course most
David
famous
Letterman.
alumni is David Letterman. So you go to Indiana is what I meant, and you go to Ball State University. You're a Cardinal, and you actually had a scholarship while you were there, which is for those of us a little bit older, we big Letterman fans. You were on the Letterman scholarship.
I was.
Yeah. And so you do this, and your goal in life was to do what?
So I was in the telecommunications department. Through that, I did all sorts of broadcasting. I did some sales and promotion work there, but I was all behind the scenes production, producing, directing. So for his scholarship, we had a project, and anyone can turn in a project. So I was one of the winners of his scholarship based on a marketing campaign and commercials I put together for Ball State University. So it's a neat experience.
Right.
As you asked me before, no, I did not get to meet him, but I got to meet his mom, and I got to meet his lawyer, who handed me the check for the scholarship. So that was a neat experience.
Yeah, and interesting, the mom thing came about because he didn't want to go to the Olympics, I think was what it was. If you remember, that's when she was always in, but I mean, she really became more of a personality when the Olympics came around, and he sent his mom to the Olympics. And it was Dorothy, I think was her name. But I mean, just interesting fella, and so cool that he gave back to his university. And it's awesome that you were able to, get that scholarship. So now, after Ball State, where'd you go?
So at that point, moved down to Tallahassee, Florida. Went back to Florida.
Okay.
That's where Candace and I got engaged, and I did my master's at Florida State. So the Florida State University, so home of the Seminoles.
The Florida State University.
Florida State University.
Yeah, I think Ohio has. Doesn't Ohio State have that one? They tried to get that copyrighted or something. Jeez. But no. So all right. Obviously, you met Candace in Indiana, or where did you meet her?
No,
in
we
high
met
school.
in high school.
That's
down
right.
In Florida.
High school, but
Yeah.
Indiana was involved in the famous "My Boyfriend."
That's right.
That's the greatest story of all time, and I can't tell you.
We can't talk about that
But
here.
no, because she'll kill me too. But so basically, you moved down, and then when did you start working for your friend that was the agent as well?
So I got my start with State Farm,
Right.
working for an agent in Tallahassee. And I mean, I'd like to say it was this amazing story, like this crazy, moment where, God spoke and work at State Farm.
Right.
I had a rent payment due.
Right.
And there was an agent who had a job ad for a marketing assistant. I thought I was going into the marketing world. I thought that's where life was going to take me.
Right.
And she offered me a job on the spot. And I accepted.
Right.
And then, fast forward 4 years later, I decided, I want to be a State Farm agent.
Right.
I met another State Farm agent who became one of my best friends, mentor, still one of my best friends. He's since retired.
I've met him.
but
I mean,
you
he
have-
comes back for parties. and
I
you
mean,
have-
it's basically you,
Yeah.
a few years older, but as distracted as can be.
Right.
But no, right?
I'm just
It's not
kidding, right?
true.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's why I am where I am here today.
Right.
So it's been an awesome journey. My gosh, it's been 17 years now.
Yeah, that's what always kills me about you is because you're younger than me by a mile, and you've accomplished so much so far, and it's interesting to me to see where you are, what you've done, and your thoughts on things and stuff, and that's why I wanted to have you come in, is because I want to talk to you about. So you're sitting there, you take this job, you do get involved, you finally now have decided you want to become a State Farm agent. What's the process that got you here?
So that was an interesting part of the story. So
Right.
I'm working for this agent down in Florida, and we actually came up to the other agent I worked for, my mentor friend, name's Tom. He owns a cabin up here in the mountains. So we were actually here at his cabin for a long weekend, just hanging out. We went whitewater rafting and such back in, I guess this would have been like 2006, 2007. And he got a phone call from the State Farm manager here in Winston-Salem and said, hey, I'm looking for an agent. I've got a resume on my desk. This person put you as a reference. And Tom said, no, don't hire that person. I fired that guy. But here, talk to my other guy, Rick, who happens to be with me right now. Hands the phone over to me right then and there. Hit it off with that agency manager who was a Florida State fan. He's a
Right.
Florida State graduate, actually.
The
The Florida State
Right.
University. And Candace and I came up that next weekend and interviewed that 2006 and got that, 2011 or so, and got that position. So,
Right.
and then we opened up our agency here, the Babusiak agency, in 2011.
So, and interesting, because what had happened is there was an existing agent that was doing other things, and so you actually were brought into a somewhat of a little bit of a book of business, and so that's got to be great to start off with some existing clients. Not all the clients are great,
You know.
yeah, but I mean, so that's got to be good. But then, what got you into what made, was it that you just personally wanted to meet more people, or or was it that you had a plan? I mean, because I know you, and I know that you are somewhat spontaneous, but a lot of times you do plan ahead. So you come to the area, you buy a house. A great real estate agent, I think, worked with you on that. But so you come to the area. Don't you dare! But you come to the area, and then
No comment.
like, what did you do? Did you purposely go out and get involved and stuff like that, or was that just, hey, my wife and I want to meet more people?
I mean, it was just that. I mean, it was just authentically, wanted to meet people. When we moved here in that spring of 2011, we didn't know anyone.
Right.
The only person we knew was the State Farm agency manager who hired me and gave me the opportunity to have my own business here. But in terms of having friends, family, we didn't know a single person. So this was a brand new reset for us, and we knew that we were going to succeed. We had to meet people, but also I look back at that time, and we met so many amazing people through the Winston-Salem JCs. People of whom still amazing friends with today. So many years later.
Yeah, but I think now, as you look back on it, though, what an amazing thing that you did. Because, I mean, if you were to go back now and move to a new community, wouldn't you do a lot of the same similar stuff? So...
Well, and it's a different stage of life now.
Right.
That was before kids. And, honestly, if we moved here to Winston today, it'd be very challenging to try to do that over again.
Right.
Having two young kids and homework every night and the activities they're involved in, it probably would look different.
Right.
But I think it was a really good time to make that move before kids, where we had more time to spend out in social events, networking. I mean, we were even part of the kickball team for 3 or 4 years.
Right.
And I'll tell you, one of the coolest things about that kickball team was how humble we were. In that 3 or 4 seasons I played, we never won a game.
Right.
So that tells you anything about my athletic ability.
They delivered our championship trophy to my wedding, so we had a little bit different experience with the kickball. Just so you know, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more Rick Babusiak and Camel City Chat. Welcome back to Camel City Chat. As we were talking about before the break, our medal was delivered to my wedding because we did win the championship. Kickball was fun.
It was fun. It was a great time.
But no, I honestly, Rick, it's all about being in the community, and I'll give you some examples of some things you may not even remember that you did. You adopted the highway near your office. You very, very involved in the JCs. Still involved in the JCs. What's your favorite project that you do every year? And you bring what's the name of the bear?
Well, we did have the good Nay Bear,
Right.
but he had to retire.
He had to retire.
So.
You couldn't find anybody to put the costume on, probably. But no. So I mean, so you're involved with Christmas cheer. You've done the parade before. I mean, all kinds of stuff. Did you do a parade this year?
I was never involved in the parade. The parade always fell on the same weekend as the ACC championship.
Right.
And back when the Florida State University was good.
Okay, so all right. Well, but you've invested in the community in different aspects and things, which I think have endeared you to people. Plus your ability to, come and talk to someone. I mean. I had a car accident. I remember what I was doing is on the phone with my mother-in-law, and I looked down and looked up, and I bumped somebody on the road. It was stop and go traffic, and I think basically it was like $40 more a month or something that I had to pay for that. And after the 3 years, I get the phone call from you, and it's like, hey, I just want to congratulate you. That's coming off, and because you got to be bulletproof. And you can tell us a little bit about that. But and so then it's like, well, thanks, man. He goes, oh, but by the way, you're still going to spend it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, well, you don't have any disability insurance. You need to do this. So, I mean, as we come out of coming to town, getting involved, and all these different things. I mean, obviously, insurance is a topic some people don't like to talk about. Mm-hmm. So, let's talk about it. What is it that makes you different from the other 5 companies out there? Obviously, I know State Farm has this thing, but then there's also Rick Babusiak too. So what makes your national brand, like I'm at Caldwell Banker, what makes us different, and then what makes you different?
Yeah, and great question. I mean, because that's really, like you said, that's what sets us apart from, it's our process. It's our systems, our process, and it's my people. And part of that is it goes into our philosophy of what we do for our clients and how we help them plan. Because let's be honest, anybody can quote a home insurance policy. Anybody can quote an auto insurance policy. Honestly, you can go online today and quote an auto insurance policy. Don't though. You don't want to do that. Yeah. But what it comes down to is the 3 pillars of our core philosophy and our core advice we give, and that's protection, savings, and growth.
Right.
And protection, if I get a quick rundown on what those are. What good is saving $1 million for retirement if one car accident can wipe it all away tomorrow? So that's where we go through an asset calculator. We figure out how much liability insurance you should carry. That's a big number and one that's often missed.
And while you're on that subject, one thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is when you volunteer for your church board or your other boards or things like that, you're at a liability there as well too. So besides the car insurance, you need to do an umbrella too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
most people who are homeowners and who are active should have an umbrella policy as part of their overall risk plan. So protection, and then life insurance. I can't tell you how many times we come across, even on a daily basis, where the only life insurance someone has is through work. And maybe it's 1 times their salary, 2 times their salary. But just like we calculate their liability insurance, we calculate what's their life insurance need. What do they want their life insurance to do for them? God forbid something happened to them.
Right.
And 1 times your salary isn't going to put your kids through college, isn't going to give your wife the income she needs, or vice versa, the income they need to keep a roof over their heads. And that's where we really want to help our customers prepare for that and plan for that. Savings, this is another one where so many people have their retirement through work, and that's all they have, and there's no plan there. There's no strategy in terms of what they're doing, and we've all been there. But again, that's where we want to change that, and we want to work with them to strategize on, hey, what could retirement look like if we put some strategy behind it? If we optimize the insurance to protect it, and we also optimize the retirement piece. Now, I can't get into all the specifics, because the next piece is growth. How do we grow money in a responsible way?
Yeah, that's when I said earlier, you can't talk about investments, but you can basically say that we can
talk to you about retirement.
Right.
But if we get into that, we've got to have disclaimers the size of a Walgreens or CVS
Well, plus,
receipt.
don't I have to send like the video on to somebody, and they've got to view it, and then we got to put your number or something at the bottom of it.
So won't talk about anything financial, but
let's
it's
just say that you can help people out in all aspects of
That's
life.
right.
Okay.
So protection, savings, growth, that's where we focus on. And, check us out online. Take a look at our reviews. Take a look at, what we've been able to do for some of our customers. And, we love working with people to help them strategize.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because when I got into this, we were you were, I guess I'd been doing it for a while, but we hit it off, friends, et cetera, and stuff, and started working together more and more. And as I recommend people, we have to be careful sometimes, and you got to give multiple recommendations. It seems that whenever I give more than one recommendation, they always will choose you. Which is nice because then it's like when I work with Ruth or when I work with Clint or when I work with you, it's nice because what happens is I know they're taken care of. Now I've expanded that a little bit too, and have other people what quivers in the arrows in the quiver, but I know that someone that's working with you, I'm going to have what I need when I need it, et cetera, and stuff like that. And I think that's, and you do have a good team. And, I'll mention two of them just because, they won't believe that I actually said it on public but maybe I shouldn't, I don't know. But I mean, Casey does a great job. Julia does a great job. I mean, they, and they're basically, the heart of it. And when we went to lunch last week, you shared something else with me that I'm pretty proud of you about. Are you allowed to talk about that yet?
Oh yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah. Well, so years back you said, "Oh, I'm doing this," and then it was like, "No, I'm not going to do this because it's not." Now that I think about it, it's not what I want to do. And you prayed on it, you thought about it, and you didn't even realize what it meant to not do that so that you could get this opportunity. So you're going to be like Triad Rick now or something? I mean, what are you doing?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, effective April 1st, we are launching our second office. So we'll be on Westover Terrace in Greensboro with our second location. So we are what's called a multi-office agent. So we're in the final steps. We've got March to really finalize the plans here before we launch April 1st, but in the process of hiring team. We've got a couple new people at the Winston office right now in training, one right now in licensing for another set of licenses for life and health insurance.
Right.
But it's going great. It's really been such an amazing process.
You're in so much trouble when you just told me where you are. Do you know what kind of food is over near there, buddy? You are in trouble.
We have Hop's Burger Bar directly across the street.
I think there used to be a Bricks over there, and then, but the other thing is, I mean, you're over there near the paper place, and
Lucky 32 is right there.
Lucky 32, yeah. I mean,
I'm excited. It's a great location.
It is a great location. Because, Coldwell Banker was on that street, too. I think they've recently moved. I don't know where the new office is because I haven't been over there yet. But I mean, they're in the process of moving, and it's but great location. Yeah.
But it doesn't change our strategy. We're one of the offices with State Farm where we write multiple states anyway.
Right.
So we never felt constrained to just Winston-Salem. I mean, we have customers, of course, all over Kernersville, Greensboro, of course, all over Forsyth County, but customers from Murphy to Wilmington.
Right.
But then beyond that, we also do Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, any state that touches North Carolina. So we get referrals and we write customers regionally.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've had some clients that have moved away, and they still are with you.
Yeah,
which is nice.
And our technology is amazing in that we have video chats,
Right.
video reviews. We review their overall portfolio, their plan on insurance, their plan on the financial retirement side. We have meetings virtually now, and it saves people time. They don't have to come into the office to
That's
do all
one of
that.
the big things that our industry's doing too is a real estate review is basically saying, hey, here's the house you own, here's what it's worth and stuff like that. And what happens if is this my bulletproof thing? Is that kind of what you call that in your office that you've created for yourself in a sense? So what happens?
Well, what we're doing.
Because let's say I did that in the last couple of weeks. What happens in this meeting?
Well, and to kind of go back a step further, what we're looking to do is we're looking to be proactive because anybody out there, again, can be a problem solver. If you have a problem, you can Google it and you can figure out how to solve that problem.
I can?
What you can.
Oh, wow. Google.
Right?
I never heard of that.
But what you need in your life is you need the problem finder. You
Right.
need someone who can find the problems, who's going to know what questions to ask because you don't know what you don't know. And if you don't know what to ask, how are you going to know, if I had this kind of claim, I'm not covered. If I had city sewer water that's coming up into my drains and getting into my basement and destroying my floors, I'm not covered.
That's happened.
Right? So
Yeah.
that's one where you've got to have a professional on the insurance side, the financial side. You've got to have a professional on the legal side, the real estate side. Who they know what questions to ask, and they know how to make you financially bulletproof. And that's what we're doing in these reviews. It's not just, let's check to make sure you have roadside service. Let's check to make sure you've got all the discounts. That's wonderful, and that's a great thing. We want to make sure we're charging a fair price where we can get the rate lower. But we want to be going through to make sure that our customers are well planned, that no matter what happens in life, we've thought of the contingencies that go around it, and we figure out, how can we make this customer more financially bulletproof.
Do you think my wife doesn't put the beacon in her car because she knows that it's going to prove that I'm a better driver?
I'm sure that's what it is.
But I mean, no. So you've got the beacon now. I mean, you've had that for several years. I mean, I think my discount on that's what, $120 a year on both the two that I have now.
At least, I think, yeah.
$60.
Drive safe and save, it works.
Yeah.
I mean, if you drive under 15,000 miles a year is kind of what I've learned, and you're not going 100 miles per hour.
They're not going 100 miles an hour, but see, so the thing that, and we've learned together too, for instance, if you drive a bunch of miles, then it's probably worth, how much is it to add the windshield thing? A couple bucks?
So you're saying, lower your deductible on your coverage, yeah?
No, just the windshield thing. Remember, it was like, all right, Rick, this has happened to me twice, and what do I do?
Be careful on claims. You don't want to file too many claims.
I know, but I'm trying not to. But the windshield thing, that was one. The other is that I don't think a lot of people ever talk about. It's the hospitalization policy. So there's a good story that you have about that that shows the worth of it. It's a crappy story in that it shows the bad side of health. But explain how the hospitalization policy and why that's something
it's a policy that covers many things, one of which is accidental injuries. So I mean, the light of it, I'll give you, I just used mine a few weeks ago.
You dropped a toe?
I dropped a table on my toe. And my toe, my pinky toe, it still hurts today.
I
thought it was
feels
broken.
It's like separating away from the others. Yeah, no, mine's the one over.
It was black and blue completely. I couldn't believe it wasn't broken.
Yep.
But got it checked out, got my payout.
Right.
But we've had everything from those dumb moments. You do something stupid and you injure yourself, to the most heartbreaking stories that we can talk forever about, where we had a customer who had twins born, and one was healthy, and tragically the other one wasn't, and spent months in the NICU and months in the hospital, ultimately to pass away.
Right.
But because of this policy, because of this account that we had set up, it paid the parents a daily benefit for every day that infant was in the hospital, which allowed them to not worry nearly as much about the finances and be there with their family. So I mean, it's
amazing, and you've told me several stories like that. But if you have a little boy or a little girl, it's fairly reasonable. So I think Laura jumped off of Thomas the Train and then was a stuffed Thomas the Train, and then was limping, and it's like, well, let's go get her checked out. And then, of course, my story is the one that you prefer to tell everyone, and that's the fact that I went and got my colonoscopy, and there were polyps, and so I had to send you proof. And so it's like, yeah, John, you're the first client that I've ever seen inside of them. But
remember, let it be known, I don't share that. That's HIPAA data.
But no, it's like, but yeah, it's like, yeah. How close are you with Rick? Well. But no, I mean, it's that working with me and going, well, John, how'd it go? Well, you need to turn that in for your hospitalization. I'm like, what are you talking about? Would have never done that.
That's right.
But it's the biggest thing, I think, is to, your kid falls down and you want to, if you're that parent that wants to immediately rush to the hospital like we are, what do we call it? We're not the helicopter parents, we're the personal bodyguard parents. Then you're not going to be, you're not going to be out the money for being,
Sure.
extra caring. So, we're going to take a break.
Okay.
We'll be right back with more Camel City Chat right here. Welcome back to Camel City Chat. I'm here with Rick Babusiak, and it's a shame Madeline's not here to say it, because she loves to do that anymore. She's at her office. So Rick has no idea what I'm going to go into, and I know he's scared because I ask him different questions. But so you don't do anything half-assed. I can say that. You're committed to things sometimes, and it's like,
Okay.
yeah. So and I'm going to touch on what I said I wasn't going to, but I mean not in the way you think of it. So I mean, like you redid your basement, and did the theater, have the nice libation area, whatever. But there's another aspect of you that people don't know, and I want to talk about that, and it's Farmer Rick.
That's right.
So I mean, you your neighbors thought you were growing like weed in your old neighborhood, because you'd wheel these things out and then turn on the grow lamps in the garage, and they drive by and it looked like an alien had landed. you know, yes, I have friends that live across the street from him, but they knew him, so it wasn't like them. But I mean, it was so you. Where did this come from, Rick? It's like you love to grow things.
I do. I love gardening. It's one of my hobbies, and it's such a it's a peaceful thing to do.
Right.
And I think when life is so busy, life is so chaotic, you know, it's running around from point A to B to C. It's a really calming thing to do. So yeah, for years, what you're talking about there, I had tower gardens and really cool devices that are hydroponics, and I grew everything from broccoli to tomatoes.
But you love the bib lettuce. You love
The bib lettuce, absolutely. The spinach in there, the romaine. But yeah, with the grow lights, I would start them indoors.
Right.
You know, and actually you could grow them year round.
Right.
The parts of them got a little bit expensive, so I just have the raised garden beds outside now. But in my basement right now, I've got a separate room, and I do have some lights in there.
Right.
But I started seedlings a couple weeks ago. Some lettuce, spinach. I've got some broccoli going. I
Right.
planted a few seeds for my first tomatoes to get the first round of tomatoes going as soon as we get past the frost.
So we have that little
Yeah.
garden thing that I showed you, and you're like, oh, that's so, but it's so crazy too because you take and it needs to be watered, and I've told the two tenders of the garden because I am just an observer. You need to water that. It's time to feed that, and nobody listens to me. But you know, you pull this water thing off to pour the water in there, and it looks like my daughter's hair after like the
Oh, yeah.
weekend. I mean, and not and just it is a mess in there. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, how are you gonna get all that stuff out when you put? But they come in like K cups almost.
Yeah.
And you put them in there. So we've got dill and parsley and basil and all this stuff growing. But then they also have flowers now. And then the new one that Catherine says there's a pepper plant one too. But you love this stuff. And I mean, like, what all do you grow? What are you planning to grow this season?
So this season, besides probably 10, 12 varieties of tomatoes, we'll have probably 5, 6 varieties of different peppers, everything from your traditional bell pepper to a chili pepper, pepperoncinis,
Right.
green beans. I'm super excited to grow my spaghetti squash.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite meals now.
Yep.
Trying to eat healthy. You get what they call a lean and green in,
Right.
but a spaghetti squash. So I'm going to grow that with the tomato sauce on it.
Basically, you just cut it in half, clean it up.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Oil, throw it in the oven on the thing, and then
Yep.
it's one of the coolest things in the world because as meat eaters, it's actually like kind of almost okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But I'll have pumpkins, watermelon, all the traditional squash.
And how many? All right, so because the last time I was over, you've got, let's say, 4 feet by 6 feet. You got like maybe 24 square feet. Have you expanded that?
No, I've
even
got
more?
4 by 8 beds. So I've got 32 square
So it's still the 4 beds.
feet, times 4 then, so at 128 square feet. Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now I'll be adding some.
Okay, I was going to say
No,
with
don't tell Candace yet. She doesn't have my plans yet, so it's not approved. But in my mind, this is what I'm going to be doing: is I'm going to add another bed that is narrow. That's only about a foot wide,
Right.
by probably 20 feet.
Beans.
And no, that's going to be my berry patch.
Berry patch,
So
okay.
Costco's got all the root systems in right now. Some
Right.
blueberries, grapes, raspberries, blackberries. So I can't wait to get all those in the ground here in the next few weeks.
So we did went and bought the berries and all that stuff, and so Laura got a bush,
Okay.
blueberry bush, and then the other day they never put it in the ground, and I'm like, yeah, you need it. When are you gonna put it in the ground? I mean, it's almost been a whole season, and they looked and go, hey, this thing's still alive, so now it's finally planted. So, but we're not as
It's
motivated
amazing
as
that
you.
it lasted that long.
We're not as motivated as you. Just so you know, I mean, I'm okay to go to Costco and buy the huge thing of berries and eat them.
It's a lot cheaper. We joke that a pound of my tomatoes is worth about $100.
Well, so what is it? What is it? The $20 tomato or something is a movie, and it shows you how much it costs to grow the stuff. But heck, hey, I got hobbies. I'm brewing kombucha right now.
You know?
I've gone from the
It makes you appreciate farmers who can grow a tomato and sell it at the grocery store for $1.29 a pound.
Yeah, so you need to watch King Corn. It's a documentary on a couple of guys from up north that go out west, rent, and talk to this farmer. They get 1 acre of land, and they end up making like $25 with the government subsidies. But the best part is when they almost blow up their kitchen trying to make high fructose corn syrup. Yeah, but I mean, it's just 2 guys. It's a documentary, but so you need to watch that.
Good stuff.
But so I know that's one of your hobbies. I know you enjoy. You almost did the shirt today. I almost wore one, but you love Fridays and
My Hawaiian shirts.
your
yeah,
Hawaiian shirts,
absolutely.
which you're having a little problem with them. Why don't you go and tell me what your problem is, Rick?
Oh, my shirts are huge on me.
That's what I thought you were saying.
know?
I'm only down 20 pounds. I need to be down another 20 more. Well, 30. And we'll catch up with you.
You got this.
Yeah, your greatest attributes you care. If it's playing cribbage with your friends, if it's having friends over for dinner and a libation, watching movies, having the kids over just to watch a movie and hanging out, you care about people. You care about getting involved in their lives as much as they'll let you with regards to their insurance and stuff. And then for you to go to Greensboro now and offer services, I mean, the biggest problem that I see is that I know you can do it. I have no problem with that. It's that you're going to want to be in both places at the same time.
No, absolutely.
And Hermione's not going to give up that little thing that spins that lets you go back in time and be 2 different places. How'd you like that?
That's good.
That's a pretty good reference, wasn't it?
That's pretty good.
My daughter's reading the books. Yes. But no, so, I mean, what is your plan for that as you open up the new office?
That's a good question. Maybe I should think about that. No, I mean, this is one where expanding our reach, it's going to be a different mindset. It's going to be, I'm very blessed, first off, with the team that I have in place, with the team that we're continuing to build. You already mentioned them, Julia and Casey.
They're okay.
Pretty good. I mean, they are the ones who are really running a lot of the day-to-day show anyway. Julia, as VP of Operations, she is managing the customer service team. They're working with our customers on all the policy changes, the claims. So it frees up my time to not have to worry about that aspect. Casey is VP of Growth and Strategy and looking at ways to continue to grow, to meet with our referral partners, to meet with people who send us business. But the team does a great job, and really it's one where the technology that we leverage nowadays, again, it doesn't matter which location I'm in, whether I'm in the Greensboro office, the Winston office, whether I'm in my home office. The technology puts us anywhere we need to be.
Well, I will give you a compliment that's not going to sound like one. We are very similar in our careers and how we deal with clients, and that they want to always speak with us, and that's hard to do. I don't always have to speak to you anymore, and I think that's something that you have worked for, but it's also probably something that's like, well, what do you mean? In the sense of that. As a person, that probably hurts you in the sense of things, in the sense of, but I want to talk, but you've done it right that way. I remember stories that, gosh, let's go back and talk about my buddy John, who you said, well, why didn't you do this or do this or do that? And it was like an extra $500 a month that you found him from, the Social Security. Yeah. Well, why wouldn't they tell him that? Well, because they don't want you to take these things. And you found him that, which, helped him out. And I don't, he's since passed away. I don't know what benefit that, besides that 500, if there was an additional benefit that he was able to achieve for his family. But, you really do like to get into figuring out how people can do better. And we both are in careers where sometimes people have negative input of like, oh, well, you're selling this, you're selling that, or you're nothing but this or whatever. And it's like, yeah, that may be some people in it, but we're trying to be the best in our industry and do better. And you definitely are doing that. I mean, every year you're the president of State Farm's calling you in town. You're going on a trip because of the hard work that you and your team have put together. And you're also from an old school side of things, like with my family, you do something that my parents would never have done, and I don't really know how to do very well, and that's you socialize with your team outside of work. It's I was raised in an era where you didn't do that because my parents took a friend up to we had a lake house about the size of this room, and next thing you know, there was a union drive in our business because we could afford a lake house, and why weren't we doing better for our? And it's like, but that was the size of this room, and you're taking your team to the beach and different things like that, and it's so commendable, and you really do try to keep that chemistry of we're here to help, and reward them for that, and I applaud you for that.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, it's that camaraderie, it's that chemistry. At the end of the day, we have to trust each other. We have to. I've got to be able to trust that they're going to do what's in our customer's best interest. They've got to trust that I'm going to take care of them as well. And you don't just build those relationships, via a Zoom meeting. You've got to be face to face with your team, and despite there being 1, 2, 3, 4 locations, whatever the future may hold, still being there with my team, in it with them on a daily basis, is what's key.
And how many multiple location State Farm agents are there of the State Farm agents?
So there's a good handful across the country. There's a few in North Carolina, so it's still a relatively new program. But I'll tell you what, a really exciting thing. This past week, I was in Asheville, and part of my big belief that I put for myself, that I put in place for my team, is always be learning, always be growing.
Right.
Where we were last year is not where we want to be this year and next year. So part of a study group, 12 agents from all across the country. Minnesota, California, Maryland, Florida. We had agents from all over the place, and in our group, and in this group, I think 7 of which have 2 offices already. 2 of us are getting our 2nd office in April, and then 2 of the people in the group now have 3 offices.
Wow!
So it's really interesting to see where it's going, but I love that I can have these peers and these colleagues and friends in my life whom I can learn from right off the bat. And here they've been doing this for a few years. I know, they've told me already, hey, this is what I would do over again. It's what I would change.
Watch for this, yeah. The thing that it always interests me with this is that you are a huge proponent of the always learning. I know you have business coaches that you've dealt with, and I think you're working with one now. You huge on team meetings and things like that. But you also are a big proponent of like BNI and leads groups and stuff like that too.
Oh, yeah.
So how has that helped you out?
I mean, that's been invaluable.
Right.
On 2 things. First off, when we take a look at BNI and a networking group, for those who don't know, meet weekly.
Right.
And I mean, there's everybody in that group from a insurance agent to a mortgage person to a handyman. Everyone in between. Right. But what I do on a daily basis, I wouldn't have great contacts to send people to if it weren't for that. So I'm in a BNI group. Jordan in my office is in a group. Casey's in a group. David is in a chamber group. But the networking we've been able to do, and through those groups, has been unbelievable. The amount of amazing quality people that we know. If you have XYZ issue with your house, hey, call so-and-so. They're going to take great care of you. And the same thing, when they come across someone who needs insurance, I'm top of mind for the insurance piece. Right.
Yeah, because I know you're involved in both chambers, Louisville Clemens, and then also the Winston-Salem chamber. And so, I mean, again, I think that you ought to write a little handy flip chart on or a booklet on how to get involved and be known around your community, because you've done a great job of it. So now we go back, you come here in, was it, say 2011?
Yeah.
All right. So you know what Winston-Salem looked like then.
I do.
Right? A little bit of a change since then.
Oh, it's been remarkable.
Yeah, where do you want to see Winston go?
The growth that we have right now it's remarkable. I mean, just the amount of people we have moving here from all over the place, and that's what I want to see happening. I'd love to see us get some more companies to help the revitalization of downtown continue to grow. Seeing what's happening with the Dash is exciting, and some new leadership there and what they're accomplishing. Again, having Roar come downtown, all the additional living spaces in the apartments are just blowing up downtown. That's absolutely amazing.
Right.
And that's I love seeing that progress.
Cool. All right. So about time. Here comes the question. What do you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered for someone who made a difference, for someone who stood for their values. So, I'm a firm believer in my Christian values, and I want to be known for someone who took a stand to do what's right, at any given time, to treat people the right way. Whether it's personal relationships, family relationships, how I treat my wife, how I treat my kids, be known as someone who cared.
You're doing okay on this, okay? You know that already, though. Well, I think that if anybody is interested in insurance or needing to speak with Rick, you know the number, 760-9994. You're like the only person. There's like 3 people I can do that for. 760-9994, or conveniently located in the Harris Teeter Shopping Center on Martin View Lane, right off of Jonestown and Peace Haven and Country Club there. But check them out online, rbsfi.com. Of course, Jeff Smith, Smitty's Notes. Smitty is someone that always helps us out with our podcast and stuff and puts it up on his place. So definitely do that. And, check out some of the organizations that Rick talked about. I mean, the JCs is a wonderful organization. Both of us have been involved in the JCs over the years, and they are definitely a place to meet people. You can check out B&I. They've always got, you've just got to make sure that they have a space for your profession, but you can go on and do that. And other than that, we'll see you next week with more Camel City Chat. Thanks to Rick Babusiak for being the guest. Appreciate you, my friend. All right, we'll see you next time.